A student earned $270 in January for her work-study position. Okay, so let's make a little note of this $270 earned in January, then see where we go with this. Complete the table below to find an expression that describes the change in her earnings from January to February if the student earned $D in February. Show the arithmetic to help you see a pattern. So let's see what they're giving us here on the table. Here they're giving us a variety of different possibilities for the amount of money that the student might have earned in February. So, and we know that this amount is in dollars, so $200, $250, $300, $350. And we're going to take these specific amounts and see if we can see a pattern with these so we can generalize this for some D amount of dollars that would have been earned in February. And then once we do that, we're going to evaluate the expression that we found in part A for D equals 310. What does your result mean in this situation? So let's turn our attention to part A, complete the table to find an expression that describes the change in her earnings. So remember, the change in earnings, anytime we want to find the change in a quantity, it's the ending amount minus the beginning amount. And here, because we're talking about the months January and February, February will be the ending amount and January will be the beginning amount. So to find the change, we take the ending amount, which is 200, and we subtract the beginning amount. Now notice the beginning amount is always going to be 270 because the amount that she earned in January is set. That part's not going to change. So if we do 200 minus 270, we're going to come up with negative 70. So she lost $70 in her earnings. So that would make sense that my change would be negative. For the next one, 250 minus 270. Again, notice that her earnings went down. And if we do that work, that's going to give us negative 20. So the change was negative 20. Her her earnings decreased by $20. If we do 300 minus 270, well, now notice that that's turned the table. Now she's making more money in February than she did in January. So we're going to have a positive change of positive 30. And then finally, the last problem, 350 minus 270 would give us a total change of 80. Again, positive, she made more money in this scenario in February than she did in January. So now if we want to generalize this, let's see what we've got. For each one of these problems, we took the February amount. So notice each one of these values that we wrote down first is the February amount. And then we always subtract the same January amount to give us the change. So to generalize this for earning D dollars, we would do D, just change the amount that was made in February to a D, minus 270. Okay? So that would be a way of thinking about an expression for the change in her earnings. So now the last part that we need to do is to evaluate the expression for D equals 310. So here's our expression, and they're asking us to use D equals 310. So let's substitute 310 in for the D. 310 minus 270, well, that would give us a total of positive 40. But notice that that's not enough. It says, what does your result mean in this situation? Well, what our result means is that she earned $40 more in February than in January. So we could put that together in a little sentence here. So if we do that, the student earned $40 more in February than in January. And we could say because her earnings changed by $40. And that finishes up all the parts that question is asking for us.